Hi, long range hunting. Today we're going to be doing a rifle review.
Smoking head.
Now, this is something that I've gotten a lot of requests for. Generally, I try to stay away from it. There's a million videos out there doing rifle reviews and equipment reviews. And honestly, I don't trust any of them. It's just plain and simple. I know enough about marketing and industry and everything and enough connections that I know what most of those reviews are. For those who don't know, when somebody reviews equipment, they get sent that generally by the company. Now, there are the people who get a product and then they try to do that so the company will send them stuff. But if somebody's getting sent stuff, that company is looking for publicity. That's why they're sending out their equipment. The problem with that is that person then is under pressure to provide a good review, especially if they want more products sent to them. The result end up being that you're not getting a really fair shake as far as what a real review is. It's more of, I got to make myself look good and this company look good so that I get more stuff. And personally, I don't care about that. For those of you who are in the group, everybody knows, both the group and this YouTube channel, I don't take sponsors. It's just how I run it. I don't care about that. All this stuff comes out of my own pocket. And will I review stuff for people? Sure. But I'm going to give you an honest review, the good and the bad. So it's kind of one of those things that not a lot of people want to send you stuff when you say, hey, I'll give you the good and the bad. So I'm going to start though. This is one of my own personal rifles. Again, this wasn't sent to me. I paid for it. This is mine. Now, I've been really impressed. This is a custom build on one of my favorite stocks. I tried one of these stocks with my buddy Justin Watts. A couple other guys have had them that I've known. It's big in Oklahoma, but that's these foundation stocks. And they are absolutely phenomenal. I've run Macmillans for years. I've run HS Precisions. I've shot Manners. I've shot a bunch of different ones. Foundations are by far my favorite. Now, this might look wood. It's not. It's actually a composite. It just looks like wood. But a couple key features I really like about it. One, the ergonomics. It's comfortable. One thing that you don't get that is a lot of people don't realize is cheek vibration, especially when you get into larger cartridges. And that, at least for me, because I've had traumatic brain injury and a couple major concussions, is I can really feel that. So when I anchor onto that gun, I feel vibrations and it could go in and set off migraines, headaches, everything. So it's really uncomfortable. So for some of my other guns with my Macmillan stocks, I have to run some form of pad on there to give me that little bit of a buffer zone. Foundations, I've never had to do that. I don't know what the difference is as far as why it doesn't give you that cheek vibration, but it's absolutely phenomenal. You can adjust your length of pull. You can adjust your cheek height. It's very nice. The nice part about that too is, and I'll zoom in here, is this cheek riser actually has a little lock ring. And so when you go to remove that, it can drop right into the same place. So if you need to pull the bolt out and run a rod through, you're not trying to bend that rod or anything. You can simply remove this cheek piece, clean it out, pop it back on, it goes to the exact same height. So you're not sitting there trying to, stuff stuff in there or measure or do any of that, trying to figure out where it was at. So Absolutely impressed with these foundation stocks. I mean, when it was one of those things that when I tried it, I said, I want that. Now, this rifle was built by Preece Precision out of Utah. I'd never messed with him before. I'd heard he was a decent gun maker, but quite honestly, I'm impressed. It works really well. It's great components. The action is one of my favorites, and it's impact custom action. Now, both the impact action and the foundation stock are out of Oklahoma. Both small businesses, phenomenal work, great quality control. Now, this action is like most custom actions. It's a Remington 700 clone, but it's upgraded. It's got the side bolt release, which is really nice. It allows you for triggers like the Trigger Tech Diamond that I have on here. I like that it, like the Surgeon actions, it has a integrated rail that is one piece. Something I've noticed, especially the bigger ones, is sometimes the rails shake loose. And so periodically I got to pull my scope off the magnums and retorque those and make sure that they're not coming off. So great action. It's fluted. A lot of people don't realize fluting on a barrel has to do with surface area and cooling. Fluting on a bolt has nothing to do with that. That's for weather conditions. Those grooves will work out sand, dirt, anything. If you're in sub-freezing temperatures, it gives you less surface area connected so that your bolt doesn't freeze up and you can still operate it and break it loose. So very nice features on that. Again, very, very good action. Now, the stock and the action are expensive, but it's one of those things you really get what you pay for. And I mean, you really do. So now this has a Bartline match barrel. Now this is my first I've owned. I've shot quite a few of them. Very, very nice barrels. This rifle right here is chambered in .308 Winchester. It's got a 1 in 10 twist. I'm a big fan of thick barrels and fast twists. No matter what I'm running. On my 300 Win Mag, I run a 1 in 8 right-hand twist, pushing 208 grain bullets out. I never really did get to do load development on this. I got it last year. I had 2 range trips before. I just ran a load for one of my other 308s. Now it's coming in slower than my other 308 and what I like it, but it shot so well that I just left it where it's at. So it's only coming out at 2670 with a 168 grain ELD match. I like mine a little over 2,700 feet per second, but it shoots like a dream. So load development, eventually I'll have to do that. And again, I can probably get even better accuracy out of this by doing that, but it's a good rifle. It shoots incredibly. Now I've got on the break is a Fat Bastard Gen 2. Very impressive. It's not fun if you're on the side of it, but as far as managing recoil, it's phenomenal. Now, the rifle when I got it came with this Arca rail. Now this is a competition style rail. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can slide it onto tripods, stuff like that. I wasn't really a fan until I used it, but quite honestly, it's nice. I can take my bipod and slide it back and forth. I can also quick detach it. All I've got to do is loosen this up, and I can either slide it or pull it off. And I can set that bipod wherever I want. And then I just tighten it back down and we're good to go. Now, onto the bipod. This is one thing that I ended up buying because when I got the rifle, I didn't have any bipods. I run Harris that had anything for this Arca rail. A buddy of mine hooked me up. He happened to have one of these lying around. He bought it, wasn't really a fan of it. I guess there was some copyright issue or something with Atlas. I'm not exactly sure the details on that, but this is an AccuTac bipod, and honest to God, I've used Atlas. It spanks it. I don't know if there is any issue with copyright or what the deal is with that, but this is the most stable bipod I've ever used. And it's ironic because I just bought it just to have a bipod for the season. And I was end up going to switch it afterwards, but I just absolutely fell in love with it. It's phenomenal. It's easy to take on and off. I can adjust pretty easy. It's got throw level, so I can adjust for Again, it's a phenomenal bipod. I'll end up purchasing another one eventually. Just absolutely phenomenal. Now, this has a KMW bottom metal with a Accuracy International 10 round magazine that I had. Actually, it's an old one I've had for years. I've got a Trigger Tech diamond trigger in there. It's set around 1 pound. Phenomenal triggers. I absolutely love them. Now, something I haven't used yet on here also is the Seekins rings. I ran Mark IVs, Night Forces, Burris Extreme Tacticals. I've run a bunch of different rings over the years. I generally don't go for ones with Allen screws as far as mounting to the rail. I prefer more of the nut style, but these rings have been absolutely phenomenal. I've actually come to really like them. Now, this on top is probably one of my favorite scopes of all time. Now I get, there's always new stuff coming out. There's Zero Compromise, there's the Tangent, you know, there's a lot of new scopes out there on the market. But to me, this is the original. This is kind of like the 308. A lot of people now hate 308s for the whole 6.5 Creedmoor thing, which I never understood to begin with. But, you know, 308 was the king of the competition world for a long time. It was the benchmark for a lot of times, and newer cartridges like the 6.5 were designed to beat the 308. So the Smitten Benders are that. It was always the prime, the top example of quality that all the other scopes wanted to beat or be competitive with. Now, this is a 5-25. It's a PM2, Police Marksman 2. It's in mill, and it's got a Horus H59 reticle. Honestly, I really like that reticle. I've got it on both my Smiths. And the reason I prefer that, it actually is something also that I kind of warmed up to. Originally, I didn't like a whole lot. You know, it was too busy in my opinion of everything that's in there until I really got to work it. And especially for second shot corrections or for just speed period, because it has that reticle. And for those who aren't familiar, it's what people call a Christmas tree. So you have, it goes down and it's got lines. So, you know, just like the scope, you'll have 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mils, 4 mils. And then it also has those wind, and it gets larger as it goes out because of the increased wind. So without, especially with this being a first focal point, no matter what power setting I'm on, I can either do pure holds, and it's the same as far as my adjustments as dialing. So if I have a mid-range shot, I'm in the mountains, and all of a sudden a bull elk pops out, and I've got seconds to get on target and shoot that elk, guess what? I don't even have to touch a turret. All I got to do is go up. No more Kentucky windage where you're guessing if I need 3 mils for elevation and I need 1.2 for wind. Well, I go 3 and over 1.2 and then break that shot. And it's no different than dialing. So the speed is there. And even if I dial, if I need a second shot correction, let's say I'm out at distance and I'm target shooting or doing the load development, whatever the case, competition, whatever, if I miss, I can actually use that reticle. So if I'm aimed here and I impact here, well, guess what? All I have to do is move it up. Now, where I saw that miss, I can use my reticle and then do that quick second shot correction accurately. So it's a phenomenal system. It's something that really warmed up to, or I warmed up on. So just absolutely phenomenal. Now, the other thing that I've really fallen in love with is this level. Is a flat line. Quite honestly, I saw them, they were kind of expensive. I mean, you get what you pay for, but I'd run a bunch of other levels. The problem with a lot of levels, and especially with having this one, is they do have some slack in them. And a lot of people don't realize this until you get a really good level on there, but you can actually be slightly canted and you have more margin of error as far as that bubble movement. And cant's a huge problem. A lot of people don't realize that even 5 degrees of cant can throw you off. If you're at 1,000 yards, it'll throw you off almost a mil. So, I mean, you're looking almost 3 feet off target if you're 5 degrees off. Getting a good level is very important. Now, this one is probably the most sensitive that I've ever used, but you know when you're level. And that's the nice part is, especially locking in, if I'm on a flat surface where, you know, a bench or something where I'm not having to worry about it too much, or even on a good hard surface on the ground, I can tighten this and lock it in and just run it and just, double check it before the shot. If I want to, I can loosen up this bipod a little and I can just make small adjustments as I go. But I know when this is level, it's level. The other thing too, I've experienced with a lot, either with or without brakes, but with high recoil weapons, the bubbles will sometimes separate. Um, I'm not a fan of Vortex, but I do have a Vortex level on one of mine just because at the time that's all I could find available. And that bubble splits all the time. So it'll recoil, I'll come back on and go to look and check my level for the next shot. I can't, and I've got two bubbles. And so then I got to sit there and mess with it and shake it and try to get it back to one bubble and then get that true level again. I've never seen it with these flat lines yet. So absolutely just impressed. Realistically, I don't have a single complaint about this rifle. It's something that, I do my research. When I want something, I take the time. I'll wait even years sometimes before a purchase just to make sure that everything's perfect. The buddy of mine that I bought this off of, I actually helped him put it together. He asked me, hey, if you were going to build a custom right now, what would it be? Scope and everything. And this is exactly what it is. The only difference is I want it in a different cartridge. But a barrel swap is pretty dang easy. So now I know this has been a very positive review. But again, this is all top of the line. It's the best you can get, and it's exactly what I wanted. So it's kind of hard to complain about something when everything on it functions perfectly. The scope tracks perfectly. It's very, very clear. I can do anything and everything I want with this. The only thing was that I was going to have mine built in a different cartridge, but when it came up to buy, I wasn't going to pass it up. I've got plenty of 308s, but again, it's not hard to do a barrel swap, so I'll end up eventually changing this to a 6 Creedmoor, pushing 108 ELD matches or 110 A-tips, both phenomenal bullets. Now, again, some of these things, again, I had concerns about just because I'd never used them, like the bipod, the rings, and I didn't really know much as far as I reached out to some buddies about the gunsmith on this. And they said he was a good guy, said he did good work. And quite honestly, I'm very impressed. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to order a rifle from him based on what this is. You got the best parts. It's put together very well. It shoots like a dream. I dropped 3 deer in 40 minutes with this last year in Tennessee. After my second range day, I went out with my buddy Robert Brantley. We got my dad a Trude, verified it up in Tennessee, and then went out and I shot a doe at 645 yards, cold bore, dropped it dead on the spot. Then I went out and shot a doe at 541 yards with it. And then a small management buck at 552 yards. 3 for 3. It's a phenomenal rifle. Quite honestly, I don't have a single complaint about that, and that's saying something. So there's usually something I have to nitpick about. Realistically, not with this one. So now I hope that this review has helped you. If you're looking to get into the custom world, there's a lot of good makers out there, not just this guy. This was my first experience with him. But I'm very happy with the product I ended up with. Not only the quality of craftsmanship that he put it together, but every piece of equipment is just absolutely phenomenal. It's all top of the line. It all works very well. This has very quickly become my all-time favorite precision rifle that I've ever had. So if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. Now I'm going to keep going with these. I'll do rifles, spotting scopes, just different pieces of equipment that you'll use. The The good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, personally, if I don't like it, I don't run it. Now, again, I'm not sponsored, so I don't have to, like something or not like something and use it. I don't have any sponsorships, so I only buy the best. If I don't like it, honestly, I get rid of it. So a lot of the reviews as far as what I have is going to be positive. Now, there will be some reviews, even on some of the stuff that I've gotten that I still have that I'm in the process of phasing out just because I don't like it. And I'll give you the reviews on those too. So just stand by on those. We're still going on with the ballistic gel testing. We got a lot coming soon, so enjoy. Happy hunting.